here, the Ryers Museum. You see this? This is actually a library and a museum, and it used to be an old house of some rich guy. Oh, I forget. Well, I know his last name was Ryers, and I was just in there. Here is a quick tour of the museum. So the Ryers Museum is a museum that used to be a Victorian home, and you can see the two rooms of the house. So I think it's the parlor and the dining room. They are decorated with original furniture, showing you what the Ryers lived in. And in the back part of the museum, they have all these antique, really antique relics from Asia and other parts of the world. The Asian section's really incredible stuff. The tusk and the Buddhas. The museum, which is in the middle of Burholme Park, which is where I'm at, the museum's free. And know what's crazy? I lived in this area, not for a long time, but I lived where we're going for a scoot. I lived down here for a while, and I had no idea this museum existed. I just thought this was a place you go sledding. It's a very fantastic park to go sledding, the Burholme Park. If you go about, make sure whenever you're in this area, cover up your drinks, because Bill Cosby only lives about 1.5 miles, 2 miles that way. It's always a good idea to cover up your drinks no matter where you go. All right, so what are we doing? We're going for a scoot. And today, I think we're going to be dipping into Lawncrest, my old neighborhood. This is, like I said, this is northeast Philadelphia. I lived here, in this section, maybe like 2 years. Well, no. I had 3 apartments, and each apartment was a 1-year lease. So I lived here for 3 years. We're getting on Rising Sun Avenue. How exciting is this? This used to be an old seafood restaurant. Fisher's? Was it called Fisher's? Oh, I forget. Yeah, I think it was called Fisher's. And now it's nothing. I lived in this area for about 98 to about 2001. And when I lived in this area, it was in between, it was going through a change where a lot of people were moving out. A lot of the stores that used to be up and down this strip of Rising Sun Ave, a lot of them have closed. But some of them haven't. Let's talk about the things that haven't closed, like the Scratch and Dent, Robert Stevens Scratch and Dent Appliances. That has been there for a long time. It's a pretty cool looking building too. Got a little bit of history in this area. Rising Sun Avenue, the reason why it's called Rising Sun Avenue, I believe it's named after the chair George Washington sat in during when they spent their time in Independence Hall. The chair George Washington sat in had a son, and Ben Franklin was quoted as saying, well, he wasn't quoted saying this. He was saying something along the lines of this: "I've been sitting and staring at the chair of George Washington, and I noticed the sun, and I wonder, is the sun rising or setting?" And he said, "I believe it is a rising sun," talking about America becoming a new country and all. This is one of the cooler cemeteries in the area. Old time church. I believe it's still in service, and it's one of the oldest. This church is one of the oldest buildings in the city of Philadelphia. What do you think of that? Oh, my allergies have been absolutely, positively horrible. And I could tell they just cut the grass in this cemetery. So this is really going to help things. Oh. Remember like 3 years ago when COVID first came around, and it came around like this time of year, and it was during allergy season, and I was like, hush, I don't know if I have allergies or if I have COVID. All right, so here it is, the Trinity Church. Oh, I forgot, one of the presidents of the United States, their brother, President Buchanan, Reverend Edward Buchanan, well, he was the pastor of this church. His brother was president of the United States in 1854 to 1882. That's when Buchanan was the pastor of this church. And this is the Church of England. So that means, what's that mean? Protestant, right? Church of England, 1698. This church here was erected in 1711. It's somewhere back here, buried are the descendants of Betsy Ross and all types of people from American history. But I know Betsy Ross's relatives are buried here. And you can see these old cemeteries. It's a combination of old and new. Whenever you see a headstone that looks like this and it's weathered down, and when they say it's usually around 1850-ish or earlier, maybe 1860. Are you writing a book report? You better not be. But then you come over here and you notice this one from 1907. It's a pretty good shape. They use different types of stones, and they figured out a way to make them last a little bit longer. They got some really cool gravestones in here. I think that was the electric company, that building. I met Jesus right here on that corner. There was a guy who was walking around the country. They made a documentary about him. It's called That Jesus Guy. And there was a guy who walked around the country, and he walked around barefoot. And he was dressed like Jesus. And if you asked him what was his name, he would say, "What is your name?" And I think that was his name. What is your name? Like, that was his gimmick. And I remember I was walking out of a bar, and you see a guy dressed like Jesus walking around Lawncrest barefooted. You got questions. You got to ask some questions like, "The hell you dressed like Jesus for, buddy?" And we talked to him for about 20 minutes, and a little goofy. Oh, where we go? Let's go to the other old apartment. Went back to my old apartment, and so a few years ago, I was a traveling salesman, and Hulu just came out, and there was I found a documentary about the guy, and it was called That Jesus Guy, and it turns out Jesus, not really like the Jesus that I know. He was the guy from the documentary, the guy that I met on the street who dressed like Jesus. He was into banging older women, and he would go stay with older women, and he would hang out with them, and then seduce them, and they would sleep with Jesus. Kind of weird, but the whole situation's weird, I guess, if you think about it. Here it is, St. William's. This is St. William's School. It's no longer a Catholic school. I think it's a charter school. The big claim to fame to St. William's is the guy who wrote Family Circus. I think his first name's Bill. He went to school here as a kid. The guy who wrote Family Circus. And if you go inside the rectory, which is this building here, they actually have. Oh shit! They actually have a Family Circus, an original drawing of a Family Circus comic strip. These assholes are all waiting for they're not assholes, but they're waiting for their kids to get picked up from school. So now they're going to wait in line, block up church. There's so many schools that do this, it just messes up the entire. So like this whole street is screwed. So if you want to go down this street, you can't really, because it's one lane. Well, if you like this video, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up, and while you're at it, hit subscribe. Don't forget to check out my merch. My merch, it's fire, now available. Vote Philly Captain for mayor. Remember, a vote for the Philly Captain is a vote for none of the above. And if you want to help me out, there's a link below in every video to my Patreon. You get bonus videos, postcards, and early previews. You like watching live streams? Well, guess what? I do live streams here and there. And I don't leave them up for the internet to watch. I take them down. But if you're a member, you get access to all the live streams. So click that join button and join.